Morning YouTube. Saturday morning. Saturday, I guess, before Veterans Day. But anyway, looks like we got a layer of snow and a layer of leaves. So I don't know. It's supposed to be sunny this afternoon a little bit. We'll see. Well, we're supposed to get a little bit of sun today, so I want to get the snow off of this kiln so it starts to get a little warmer in there. You know, this year, the whole year, ever since summer, everything I said about the kiln is like calling me a liar, because it's without the sun, a solar kiln can't really do well, and we haven't had a lot of sun. But that's one of the drawbacks of having solar. But I am considering some other way of heating this thing. Probably some kind of a wood stove would be good. Actually, it's not that bad in there. I don't know if you can see that, but it's around 42 or so. The relative humidity is really high, 70 though. That's probably because of the cold temps. Looks like the sky's clearing up because clouds are right in front of the sun. The major difference between up where we are and down in here, now I'm off the mountain here, and you can see there's very little snow, just a dusting, and the water's not frozen on the road, it's wet. So that's the difference between being up there at 2,000 feet. I don't know if I said it before, but I'm on my way to Lowe's. I need to pick up a couple electrical things for in the house. I was trying to do the finish wiring, and I was short some TV or cable receptacles, as well as 2 outlets. So I'm going to pick that stuff up because I want to get that done so I don't have to think about it anymore. So anyway guys, I'm over at Lowe's, and I want to give you an idea of what some of the moisture content is. This is 16% on treated wood. Now we know that treated wood is always higher because of the salt treatment. Now this is a 2x8 here, it's only 7%. Let me just check in here. 11%. Once I get to doing the trim, this will be this is a bathroom. There'll be a vanity here, and I just put this light in that's above where her mirror is going to be. I also, this is a closet. I put these recessed bulbs in here, or light fixtures I should say. I don't know if you can see that. Looks like the camera don't want to focus for some reason. But anyway, I just put the trim around them this morning. The box was in before the drywall was up, so I had to buy the rings for them. So just that little white ring with the little cone there, 10 bucks a piece. So like I was saying, I was down at Lowe's today and I picked these up. I needed a bunch of them we had some, but we didn't have all of them. So I got some of these. I had to get two different types because they were sort of out of the one type, but it doesn't matter for in the closet here. Anyway, when you look up inside there, you can see there's like a piece where you would put a screw in if you were going to screw something in place. You can put these springs that are in here into those holes, and then if it's not tight, you loosen up this nut over here and you can push the fitting on the inside up to make sure that this spring and this ring is going to be tight against the ceiling. So you need to take the light bulb out first. One way to make these rings, you can see how it comes. It's a ring over top of a cone and there's two springs on it. Right here, like this, two springs. One way to find out if it's going to work for you, and so that you don't have to be taking it up and down with the springs, is to lay it on something flat and then hold the spring up. You can see the hook of the spring there is about 4 1/4 inches. So 4 3/4 inches would give you 1/2 of an inch of pull, and that should be tight enough to pull it to trim against the ceiling. So you're going to measure from the flat to the very top of that spring. It looks like it's 4 1/2 inches there. So 4 3/4 or 5 inches would be good. So what we want to do then is take the tape inside the light and see if it's 5 inches from the place where you're going to hook the spring down to the bottom where the ceiling is. I'll show you that. So then what we have there, this is the part where the spring's going to get hooked to right here. So if you measure down there, I've only got 4 inches, so that means that that's going to be loose. So this wing nut here, if you loosen this up, you can pull this up above this screw that's down in here that comes in from the outside of the case, and this will move up and down. So I'm going to take this, loosen this screw up, and then I'm going to push this up so that I get that 5 inches. I need it up to about 1 inch or so. So if you see there, I loosened that wing nut, and then I moved that inside flat plate up, and now I have 5 inches there. So I'm going to tighten that wing nut now, and then I can hook my springs up. Okay, so besides the other, the spring type that I'm hooking in these holes up here, this hole and this hole, there's another type that has like a V-type spring, and you hook them onto this. The one thing nice about those is they actually hang down a little bit. You can reach your hand through the trim ring, squeeze them together. They're two long things, just like my fingers. You squeeze them together, you put them inside of these little hooks here, and then you just push the ring up, and as you push it up it gets tighter and tighter because the spring expands to hold the trim ring against the ceiling. Now I don't have that type. I could have got that type, but just wasn't matching what the other ones we had here. So I'm just going to hook them to the holes up in the ceiling, up in the plate there, and that'll hold this trim up there. I'll show it to you when it's finished then. So there are a couple different types. You know, there's more than just one way of doing this. So this is just two different types that I'm explaining to you here. So you can see what the ring looks like once it's up there. It hides any bad cut you may have made in the drywall when you're installing the box. Or actually you install the box and you go to put the drywall up. This ring will hide anything that you have there that might be a bad cut. Okay, so what I have here is the light fixtures. When you buy them at Lowe's, and it depends on where you buy them and what brand you buy, but the light fixtures that I bought came without the trim around them. So what happens is you have to buy the trim ring separate. You can buy different types. Because it's inside the closet, these rings, doesn't make any sense to buy something fancy because it's just in the closet. Nobody will ever see it. So anyway, it's a Halo brand. Okay, this is a 6-inch ring that fits the light fixtures. Now you got to look at the size of your fixture. If you have a smaller fixture, you'll need a smaller ring. So then in this package, besides the cone for the depth up there and the ring, you get another ring. You get a small ring and a wide ring. This one's about 1/2 inch, that one's about a full inch that's up there. So I usually throw the small ones away. As a contractor, I mean, you really don't, you know, you're cutting a lot of holes in drywall all day long. Sometimes you're going to make a mistake. So if you make a little mistake, the bigger ring will hide whatever mistake you may have made. And then these can go to the grandkids for ring toss. So then here's another thing here. I'll just show you this. When I originally hung this light fixture, I dropped the globe here, not the bulb, but the globe that went around it. So I picked this one up today to go over top of this. Now, one of the things I'll tell you is this. Years ago, these pieces, and you could tell right away when US stopped making stuff. This is made out of like a ceramic. And I guess the Chinese like that, because ever since the Chinese started sending light fixtures over here, this is what we've had to contend with. Now the problem with that is that you're always putting either a plastic or a metal like nut over top of that thing. And you can see that it's not the best of threads. It's got imperfections in it there. And sometimes it makes it really hard, these stupid things, to be able to get the nut over top of there to hold the bulb or the globe. I don't like this type. What we would use in the US, we had these and they were made out of Bakelite. Now you have to be, oh boy, you would have to be anywhere from 50 to 70 to know what I'm talking about. Because if you're any younger than that, you've probably never seen one of these made out of Bakelite unless you've done remodeling. The problem with these, like I say, is that they're not very nicely threaded, and you have sometimes a hard time tightening this up. So I'm going to take the bulb out first, take the nut down, put the globe up, put the nut up, and then put the bulb back in place. So you can see that it's not a bad fit on the top there. It's a good fit actually. And then inside there, the whiter piece on the outside, that ring screws over top of that ceramic. Like I say, I don't like that ceramic because, for one thing, Bakelite is much smoother and it's easier to thread. This ceramic is like sandy, so it's not always easy to thread, and that's part of the problem with it. And the thing is the fixtures are made so cheaply to begin with that when you try and tighten them up, sometimes you actually bend stuff up in there depending upon, you know, what type of fixture, what brand it is and stuff. Anyway, so we'll put the light bulb in there and be... You might be asking yourself, why is Joe jumping from doing light fixtures and things to doing molding or trim? Why don't you stick with one thing? Believe me, I would love to. The problem here is that once you start forgetting things, you're in trouble. And you know, I have a system for everything. I have a system for wiring, I have a system for plumbing, so I can leave it and come back to it a couple months later if I had to and still know where I stand. Because I only go to a certain point and then stop, no matter what the issue is. But what I'm getting at here is, like, I didn't put the smoke alarms in yet, and that's something I have to do. But the reason I'm jumping around and working on electrical stuff now instead of the trim is because I had to get another generator. I put the generator in, I installed it. It's big enough to do the whole house except for the electric heat. So I figured I'd plug it in and check everything out while I can. So that's what I'm doing now. Then once I'm done with this, I only have a couple more things to put in. I'm completely finished with the lighting and I don't have to worry about anything else except the smoke alarms. Okay guys, so what I have here is this receptacle box is on its own circuit. So I want to put two, because it's a 20 amp breaker that's hooked to it, I want to put two duplex receptacles here, okay? So 1, 2 side by side. So I just want to, I'm not here to give you electrical information on how to wire, but I just want to show you a couple things that are, you know, something that can make life a little bit easier and make things work better. When you hook a wire to the receptacle, now you can have, let me just screw this out a little bit here. Need to back up a little. Okay, yeah, when you hook these wires on here, okay, what you want to do is you want to make sure that the wire is going to stay on to the nut. So on the silver screw, which is the neutral wire, which is usually the white wire, not always but usually, you're going to put the screw with the circle or the pigtail going the same direction as you would when you're going to put the screw in, which is clockwise. Okay, so you basically put the pigtail, turn it on there, and then you screw this in. Now this might seem simple enough, and it is actually not hard to do, but here's the thing. On the opposite side, which is the hot wire coming in, the black, you're going to make sure that you do the same thing with it. Now the reason this gets to be a little bit confusing, you can see how I have that turned so that it goes clockwise. Sometimes when you're holding the wires in your hand, it appears that one goes one direction and one goes another direction. That's what I'm saying. In other words, this one goes this way, the other one comes this way. So it just seems a little weird, but you want to put them on there anyway so that as you tighten, the wire gets pulled into the screw. Because if you put it on the wrong way and you tighten it, sometimes you can pull the wire out of the screw. So if I put this wire in from this direction, when I go to tighten it, sometimes it pulls it away from that. And if you're doing it where you're just putting one wire in instead of a loop, you could have some trouble with it. And then what I like to do is whatever screws are left, like on the bottom of this receptacle here, I'll just screw them in. It just gives you a little extra room in the box. That's all. So I have a habit of doing that to both of them. Hey guys, I thought I'd just show you this. I ordered 8 batteries from Walmart for my camera. Hopefully I'll be able to make a video longer than 10 or 5 minutes.